Hey guys, welcome to this thought of the half term. So, ECOSOC have decided to start doing these thoughts of the half term where we take issues of importance, issues of controversy, just debate on this, share knowledge, and honestly just bring light. So, I hope this topic sparks conversation between you, your friends, your peers, your teachers, and yeah, so this half term's thought is about plastics. And we chose this topic because there's the big plastic count coming up in March. And also it's such a big issue that we need to find a solution. So I hope that one of you guys could come up with a solution. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoy this because EcoSoc love making this. So this first slide is about did you know? So these are just some shocking facts, honestly horrifying. So number one, only 9% of plastic produced is recycled. We create so much, we manufacture so much. These factory machines are on 24/7, 365, and we buy so much. We live in a very high consumerism world. And we're thinking only 9% of plastic that's produced is recycled. That's interesting. And think about what type of products are recycled. I feel like it's mostly probably batteries or phones, because obviously batteries are a fire hazard, so you can't just throw them away. So perhaps we're talking about the plastic casing on them, or phones, because all the valuable metals, you just want to dispose it carefully. But then again, it's very little being recycled, and there's a lot more that could be done. Number three, single-use plastics are illegal in some parts of the world. That's exciting, honestly. Does that mean that we should make it illegal as well? That I know there's a ban on polystyrene cups in the NHS not recently, in the last couple of years. They are trying to decrease the amount of plastic. And I think the big change from plastic to paper straws, the controversy about having soggy coffee in the morning. But honestly, I think that's an amazing thing to do, and it's going to benefit so many people. Number seven, there could be more plastic than fish in the ocean by 2050. Now that is a statement. I don't know if you guys remember when you're younger, reading books about someone going fishing, sitting by the riverside all day, not getting anything, and then suddenly there's a tug on the fishing line. They reel it in, and then it just ends up being a soggy, old, smelly boot. And I feel like in the next generation, it's going to be like, oh, it's just another plastic bag. And honestly, that idea is quite scary. It's a bit insane, you know. It's not okay. But there's so much fish in the world. That's the thing. If you're talking about, we've got some of the biggest mammals who live in the water, and we're saying that there could be more plastic than fish. That is absolutely shocking. Number eight, up to 95% of plastic polluting the oceans is carried by 10 rivers. So we could look at this in two ways. So firstly, could you argue that maybe that's a good thing? We know where the input of plastic is into the ocean. We could perhaps do something about it. We could put up little barriers, collectors, filters, so we can collect the plastic before it reaches the ocean. Perhaps that's a really good thing. But you could also think about it in the way that what type of countries are surrounding that river? What type of countries are the ones dropping plastic into rivers and water sources? Could it be high-income countries with a high amount of consumerism, lots of products being bought, so lots of products just being thrown away? Or could you argue it's perhaps a low-income or developing country which has a poor recycling system that needs work on? What type of countries are surrounding that river? I think all of this is such important data, such important facts that we could work with to find solutions that's going to work in the future. Number 9, this is very sad. 99% of seabirds will be eating plastic by 2050. 99%. I think it's seabirds and just animals, fish in general, they do not know the difference between plastic and food. It is so hard for them. And I think this relates to this picture here saying, "Hi friend, are you new to the neighborhood?" Just a jellyfish meeting a new member of their community. Honestly, that's how it feels like, because you just see so much plastic. The number one polluter on beaches is plastic, which is appalling, honestly. And number 10, the average person eats 70,000 microplastics each year. Let's just take a moment to just take that in. Thank you. It's just too much. If they imagine like all the microplastics getting broken down just into tiny, very fine pieces, and they're just drifting around in the ocean. And they get eaten by krill, shrimp, very small animals, and then it just moves on to bigger animals in the food chain. And honestly, it ends up coming to us as well. There was a really interesting research going on at this seaside restaurant, a very famous, very popular seaside restaurant, and they specialize in mussels. And recently, there's been an increase in microplastics in mussels. So they've just opening up these mussels, just cutting them, and they just see so much plastic just inside. And it's worrying because we're eating that. And I think this relates to this picture from Greenpeace UK. A customer saying, "May I have it in a plastic bag? Can I? Because I'm not going to carry your fish home by its tail." And the fishmonger smiling beamingly, saying, "It's already inside." That fish has probably eaten ate so many microplastics in its lifetime. And it's so important that we put a stop to this because it's affecting us. It's affecting our body, our lifestyle. And it's so important to just at least be knowledgeable about this and just imagine, and then take steps, active steps to stop this as well. I think something I found on the media recently, the bottom right-hand corner, it's a gift that you can get from Poundland, a gift of nothing. And I think this stirred up so much on social media, being like, this is what our world has come to, the high consumerism. We're taking advantage of human evolution and how we manufacture things. We're taking advantage of Amazon, the fact that we can get next day delivery. All of this is so unnatural, but natural to us anyway. And I think we just have to limit ourselves on that, just take it down a bit. I like to name this slide, "The Goodness That Shines Upon Us." There's a new plastic eating worm that was just recently found out. It's called Ideonella sarcoidosis. Biologists, please correct me on that. But it's a type of bacteria that can digest and decompose plastic. And I think this just brings a sense of hope, sense of future for us. Because scientific experiments are going so far, I think we could find a solution, and maybe this could be a solution. So these natural worms were found by a group of scientists, and then they genetically modified it and tried to create more. And the ones that were genetically modified actually worked better than the natural ones, which brings the thought, can we take it further? Can they make it faster, make it quicker? Unfortunately, these worms are about just this big, and they only eat up to 2 milligrams of plastic in the entire lifetime. So we're going to need a lot of worms. But I think this just shows that there is hope, that there are changes we can do, and we could make this active change, which is so exciting. So now moving on to what can you do? Join the Big Plastic Count. So this is a movement, and actually it's endorsed by Chris Packham. So if you don't remember, we met in the SEA in October. So if you think from a researcher, mathematician, geographer, from their point of and physicists, think from their point of view, they need to know what the population is like. Who are we working with? If we're trying to cut down on plastic, whose plastic are we cutting down on? How much do they use? What strategies can we put into place? And to figure all this out, they need data. They need to know the population that they're working with. So I would genuinely say, everyone take part. It's not too hard. Just keep a tally of how much plastic your household uses over the month of March and just hand it in. And hopefully, this will help them just come up with better solutions for us. And I think that's so important. And also just try cut down single-use plastics and perhaps take it a step further. Shop at a zero-waste supermarket. I know there's two branches of the 0 kilo, one in Bourneville, one in Digbeth. And I think this also, there's some conversation to be had, because these are not like individual independent shops, but they are small scale chain branded shops. And because of that, they are going to be more expensive than your average Tesco, your Morrisons, your Waitrose. They're going to be more expensive just because it's done at a much lower scale. So I think this kind of joins to the next point, pressure your manufacturers. So imagine, what if Sainsbury's becomes a zero-waste supermarket? What if you take your own plastic boxes to like Morrisons and you can fill them up with like bags of rice? Like, that's so exciting. I think we need to think about, instead of like, what else can we add to the world? How can we change what we do? It's like, how can we change our current lifestyle and make better choices, you know? And I think that's so important. And I think moving on to like the next point, purchasing secondhand uniform, and just because if you're going into year 11, you have a year of school left, and maybe that skirt's a tad bit too short, but you want to get a new uniform at that point. And why would you buy a new uniform for using it for basically less than a year because you miss a lot of school because of exam season? So I would say purchase secondhand, especially school uniform. I think it's such an easy way to decrease the amount of like plastics in like polystyrene and stuff like that. And we have so much donations. Thank you for the previous years. They've given so much. And we're planning to give a really big sale on secondhand uniform for both lower school and upper school sixth form. But yeah, do look out for that. And the next point is reduce, reuse, upcycle, and recycle. Duh. I think this just the point that buy what you need, not what you want. It's just not stressed enough. We live in this modern, high commercialized, high consumerism world, which is just really hard to compete with. And I think we don't really appreciate what we have. We're always looking for the next big thing. What else can I buy? Like, it just never stops, you know? So I think really reduce what you buy. Like, think, do you really need it? How many clothes are you going to wear at the same time? With global warming, it's going to get hotter. But like how many pairs of shoes do you need? You've only got one pair of feet. So just really think about this. And the last point, I'd really like to stress about this. Imagine what you can do. You guys are all such smart individuals, so smart, like you can learn so many things. You guys read so many books, so many textbooks. You guys read like newspapers, articles. You guys can look at PowerPoint, make amazing, beautifully done Pinterest aesthetic notes. But just have you imagined what you can do? Like, have you thought beyond like a textbook, beyond just a book? This brings to mind this person who created a flavored toothpick. And at first, I was just like, okay, interesting. I might have giggled a little bit, but a flavored toothpick, what can that do? But if you think about the most littered items, number 1 is cigarettes, unfortunately, and number 2 is chewing gum. So this person has come up with an idea to decrease the littering of chewing gum, which also has plastic in it. So their idea was to come up with flavored toothpicks that are biodegradable, bio-neutral, because they are just made out of wood, and they're also incredibly cool to use. They give the whole like bad boy look from, if you guys have seen like Grease or West Side Story, you get what I'm saying. It's a really cool look that they're trying to bring. They're trying to bring a brand to you. And these toothpick flavors come in peppermint, in matcha, in mango and passion fruit. And they did so much promotion through social media. They met members of the Beta Squad. They met like James Corden. They went to meet actors. They met someone from The Samurai Turned Pretty. And honestly, their brand is doing absolutely amazing. He's walked the streets of New York and London in a giant costume with the packaging of the flavored toothpicks, and then he just gives them out to members of the public to try. And honestly, the results have been so positive, because this might be the solution to ending littering of chewing gum and all of this plastic just being dropped or like stuck under tables. It's absolutely disgusting. So why don't we take this alternative, this bio-neutral, biodegradable alternative of toothpicks? And it's such a small idea, such a good idea, but it's probably a life-changing idea. So I just want you guys to just think, what can you do? Like, what little thing can you do? It doesn't have to be like in science. It doesn't have to be in like perhaps activism or public speaking. I'm not asking you to like stand on a table and like scream and shout, but I'm asking you, if it's in theatre, maybe like create a piece that's like theatrical, or like create a piece of music that really like identifies with issues in the society right now. Imagine what you can do in whatever field you go to, whatever amazing destination awaits you. Think what you can do and reflect on plastics. Thank you so much for listening, guys. And if you're interested about talking to people about topics like this, come along to ECOSOC. It's every Monday, I think in Lab 9 at 1 o'clock. But yeah, I hope you guys have an amazing morning and just really reflect on this and on throughout your day, and just hope you have an amazing day. Bye, guys.